Ladies and gentlemen, I've parroted the message for the last 5 or 6 days that Bitcoin is incredibly compressed over the last 3 weeks and it will be moving very shortly. But I have to emphasize that message again today because I've discovered something new on the charts. We are seeing the tightest compression, according to the daily chart Bollinger Bands on Bitcoin, that we have seen since January 2023 at the end of the last cryptocurrency bear market. Now, the only effective way to measure the compression that we're seeing on the Bollinger Bands is simply taking a percentage measurement of the difference between the top line in red and the bottom line in green, as those are the things that are clamping together. And that percentage right now is about 3%. Guys, we have not seen a 3% difference between the bottom and the top of the Bollinger Bands since way back here at the end of the 2022 bear market, right, in January 2023. Look at the price chart. This right here where I'm circling was the last time that Bitcoin was this compressed according to the daily chart Bollinger Bands. This right here before the explosion from 15,000 all the way up to 100,000 over about 2 years. This is a very critical moment. So I do feel the need to repeat the message just one more time. The compression between the Gaussian channel center line and the yellow pi cycle line, which you can see right here, the high short MA, is getting extremely intense. We are in a price range of less than 2,000 US dollars. This move, in wake of the most intense compression since January 2023, potentially by a lot of metrics, is coming shortly. I'm talking about within 3 days, within 2 days, something like that. We cannot compress for much longer. And it's not just Bitcoin saying this, it's mirrored on other markets. It's mirrored on Ethereum. It's mirrored on the S&P 500. This video will act as a final warning. Yes, I will be repeating myself. Yes, I've said many of these things before. Feel free to click off the video if you don't want to hear it again, but I feel the need to post it again because 50% of my audience are new viewers, and this is information that needs to get out there before the move occurs. How should you react? What exactly is happening? And what do I expect? We'll get into it. But guys, before we get into it here today, it's just going to be a quick 5-10 minute video. We're looking into the Bitcoin exchange, a global non-KYC exchange, an exchange that's never been hacked before, that's very low in trading fees, an exchange that has a kind of robust reserves information available with millions of dollars in USDT in reserves in case there is a hack, which again has never happened before, so they can actually reimburse you on your funds. Very good exchange. I use it personally on a daily basis. It's my main exchange at this point. And with my link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount. So go ahead and use that link to sign up, get that trading fee discount, help yourself out by getting on a good exchange, and help out me as well by using that link. I appreciate it. And you will surely appreciate it too with the quality of that exchange. Let's get into it. Not going to take up too much of your time today, guys. It's very clear what Bitcoin is doing. It's in this macro range. This macro range is identified and very clearly outlined via historical markers. Those historical markers being the 2017 all-time high and the 2021 highs. The 2017 all-time high forming a level of resistance here in orange and the 2021 highs forming a level of support here in yellow. Those levels make up the upper bound of the range and the lower bound of the range. You can see it right there on the screen. Now, obviously, this range is an expanding range, which means you don't really see much compression within an expanding range. It's not clamping together. But what we're seeing is local compression. And local compression means that we will either swing up and out to the top of the range or up and down to the bottom of the range. Given our proximity to the bottom of the range, if we did move downwards out of this local compression, I would expect the range itself to break downwards. So it really is a life or death situation here for Bitcoin in regards to the range that we've been holding for the last 3.5 months. It's very, very important that we move upwards here. Now, the more local compression, well, you can very clearly outline it by the Bollinger Bands. Of course, there's something going on. You can see that compression on the Bollinger Bands, biggest compression we've seen, tightest compression we've seen in potentially years for Bitcoin in a daily chart. Very, very clear. But if we're getting more specific, the compression, in my view, is a daily candle compression between the pi cycle line here in blue and the Gaussian channel center line here in green. And that range right now, as we speak, is less than 3,000 USD, about 2,000 USD in width, which means every day it's getting smaller by a couple of hundred US dollars. Eventually, probably within 2 days at this point, in my estimation, we will see a decision. We will see Bitcoin breaking down below this pi cycle line and going down to the bottom of the range and potentially breaking down from that point. Or we will see Bitcoin breaking from that Gaussian channel to the upside and swinging to the upside of the range and salvaging what could otherwise be a very lethal double top formation, which could define the entire macro price range. So it's a very, very critical position. And I named this video I haven't named it yet, but I believe I would have included something like final warning. I did that for a reason. This compression cannot get any tighter. As I said, we have this Bollinger Bands on Bitcoin, compressing the tightest we've ever seen in years, potentially. The exact same story. It's not just Bitcoin. Exact same story on Ethereum. And when I say it's the tightest compression we've seen in years, I'm not talking about price compression. I'm talking about percentage compression, which is much more important and probably the only thing that's important, actually. The good news here is this. Although Bitcoin is hovering below its pi cycle line, which is the foundational daily chart support at this point, we do have Ethereum breaking to the upside. We have Ethereum breaking to the upside on a momentum indicator, which is the RSI here, a channel formation. And we have Ethereum as well edging above its Bollinger Bands, edging above the upper range of that Bollinger Bands and pressing into resistance quite heavily. So that could be a good sign. Perhaps that's a reason to be optimistic. I do think we should be optimistic. I do think that this is a very important decision for Bitcoin. And of course, if we break upwards here, that is a statement by Bitcoin that it is maintaining that 4-year cycle. It's maintaining regular cyclical theory. A break downwards would put that at risk. So obviously a break upwards is probably the likely scenario from a macro cycle perspective. And for that reason, I do think we should be optimistic. But don't let optimism blind you, right? I am macro bullish. I believe Bitcoin's in a macro bull market. I believe it will remain that way. And I think that's really the only thing to think given the strength of the cycle. But don't let that blind you and distort your logical decision making. Just because we are in a macro bull market doesn't mean you should go all in a tight compression. Wait for the result. Wait for the 3 or 4% move to the upside. That's all that we need to validate that upside move, and then make your decision. Okay, you're only missing out on 3 to 4%. You're gaining so much certainty by waiting. So I can't give you financial advice. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you what, in my opinion, is the logical move here. Waiting is certainly the logical move. And just further parroting what I've said in prior videos, it's not just Bitcoin that's seeing the compression. It's the Ethereum chart as well, compressing in the Bollinger Bands, like you can see on the screen right here, against major resistance, a very important point. It's the S&P 500, it's traditional markets. You see a rejection from major horizontal resistance coming back down to major support here in green, and also by the bull market support band, and also just the total cryptocurrency market cap in general. We have the prior all-time high from 2021 right here. We're flipping that level. We're in the process of a resistance support flip, and we need to hold that zone for support. You can see Bollinger Band compression right on top of that support zone with the bull market support band bolstering the region. That's a very, very bullish setup, but it needs to hold, because if it doesn't, what do? We break downwards, we see a rounding top formation, and all of a sudden this chart looks very, very strong right now, starts looking very, very ugly, and starts looking like a failed macro breakout from the prior all-time high. So this is literally your final warning. I'm not going to drag the video out any longer. I don't think I need to. I've said it over and over again for the last few days. Now, I want to make something very clear. If we get a daily candle close below this pi cycle line, it's not necessarily over for this compression. I don't think it's enough to say that it's over if we get a daily candle close below the pi cycle line. That is just the most precise indicator at this point I'm using to define the compression. It's definitely possible that we see a daily candle close below that level, maintain within the compression, and then swing out or down more decisively. At this point in time, that is the line that I see that best represents the compression on the daily chart. Doesn't necessarily mean it actually is the line that best represents the compression. It just means that that's for what I'm observing right now. So if we see, for example, a daily candle close below that line, and there's no volume surge, and the price doesn't rapidly start moving as if it would in a normal breakdown, that probably means that line wasn't the right one. If we see a daily candle close below that line and then we get a volume surge and the price starts crashing, obviously that's validation that it was. So just be a little bit cautious in that regard. I don't want to mislead you, so I'm just going to put in that little nuance there. But in my view at this point in time, yes, this line here in blue is the best representation of the support we have in the daily candle. That doesn't mean we don't need validation for it if we do break down below it though. Of course, I will update you on the situation if anything changes. But right now, I think that's all I need to end off this video and mark it as the final warning for this compression. Apologies for parroting the same message over the last few days. Just because I've discussed it before, it doesn't mean it's not a useful message. It doesn't mean it's not important. You have to remember as well, about 50% of my viewers are new viewers to the channel on every single video. So I'm sorry, but it just needs to be done sometimes, especially in an important range like this. Guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully we'll have some developments by the next one. Please leave any questions you have about the market down below. And if we don't, I can answer those in the next video instead of repeating the same message again. Please check out the Bitfinex exchange. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the video, it's global, non-KYC. It has never been hacked before in its entire history of 3.5 years in the market. An exceptional track record. You want to be on a safe exchange. If that's anything that's been proven by the Bybit hack that happened the other day, it's that you need a safe exchange, and this exchange has been historically safe. So this is probably a good pick. 15% trading fee discount with my referral link down below, making it the lowest trading fee exchange in the game, exclusively with my referral link. Go ahead and use that link to sign up. You can do so from anywhere in the world. Guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. VIP links are down below if you want trading signals on Telegram. I won't drag it out too long. Have a good one.